Okay, start over. Sorry. Theme song. In three, two. And welcome back to Late Night Lately, the late night show. I'm your host, Chad White. And if you didn't know, this is the late night podcast for the website cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's the website. Go there. Am I currently searching for something? Yes, I am currently searching for something on the internet before I get to the monologue, which is my favorite part of the show. Okay. Great. Is this it? All right. I think this is it. Okay. Hey, listen, I have a monologue for you. Let's get right into it. The Kennedy Center is set to be renamed after President Donald Trump, and so is the dump you'll take after eating Taco Bell's new quesarito. That's right, the Kennedy Center is now known as the Trump Kennedy Center, which explains why he survived his assassination attempt. It was a BOGO, it's a 2-for-1. According to a PBS News, NPR, and Marist poll, Americans are dissatisfied with President Trump's handling of the economy more than they've ever been, almost as much as Melania is dissatisfied with life with Trump in general. I have to continue to be here. That was perfect. According to the National Energy Assistance Directors Association, heating costs may rise up to 9.2% this winter. Even still, my wife will refuse to push our beds together. And finally, according to a poll done by the American Psychological Association, psychologists are using AI tools more and more, which explains why my therapist told me I should just kill myself. And that was the monologue. That's all the jokes I have for you. You know, really, somebody would start over with so much time on their hands. Somebody with so much time on their hands would start over and retake all the jokes, do because I had to clear my throat in the last joke, do better ad libs. No, this is a live to tape show, and I refuse to go back. Welcome back in. Let's get into what happened this week in late night as I reset the sizes for every single one of these websites. Some of them I don't even go to. But some of them I do, so I don't want to forget. We are in the last week of late night shows for the year. So obviously we're all of us late night hosts are ready to take a day off. We're ready to take a couple weeks off. We all know that the this week unfortunately started with the deaths of Rob and Michelle Reiner, and it was, you know, on top of that, there was also just anti-Semitic shootings, and then the other attacks as well, the other sets of violence at Brown University. It's post weekends like or days like that where late night hosts do come into effect. I think all the time, like, why do we need to hear what Seth Meyers or Jimmy Fallon or the rest of these guys have to say in regards to what's happening in the world? Why do they have to stop the comedy? But you know, it's oftentimes I guess you just kind of have to have that neutral voice, even when the clowns have to be like, hey, that's not cool. Says the guy who told an assassination joke like 2 minutes ago. So there you go. All that being said, Rob Reiner, he and Michelle's passings were addressed this week on all the shows. For the Tonight Show, Simu Liu showed up, where I'm sure the producer doing the pre-interview was like, "So you have anything going on? You proposed to your girlfriend? And Taylor Swift was involved. Okay, cool." They talked about that, and so they talked about that. Alicia Liu was there as well. Greg Warren performed stand-up. Jake Connolly was there. Finn Wolfhard, Martha Stewart. They continued their Stranger Things march. Nathaniel Rateliff, excuse me. Timothy Chalamet stayed for what felt like an entire episode because he popped up during the monologue for a little bit. And then he played beer pong, and then the Duffer Brothers were there too. You're there to see Timothy Chalamet, and then the Duffer Brothers are there. Wow, that video is doing really well. That's crazy. Caleb McLaughlin, he was the final cast member of the Stranger Things to appear on the show. Carmelo Anthony was there. The Westminster Thrust Ensemble performed. We also had Darlene Love, Paul Schaefer, Little Steven, and Disciples of Soul perform. Jimmy is Fallon. It's so fun to, I know, and Finn Wolfhard performed. I know it's easy to just hate on Jimmy Fallon for some reason, but at least he's doing something different. You don't want every single late night host doing the same thing, telling the same jokes. And as I look, I'm a person who watches all the late night shows, so it's good to see him doing something different. And I do like his 12 Days of Christmas sweaters, even though it's not my favorite series of sketches, or I guess recurring bit, but at least he's got something different. And the same thing can be said for Kimmel with his, I believe they had the Hanukkah horse come out during the monologue on last night's episode. So that's good. All right, anyway, let's go on to Seth Meyers. Seth Meyers had a very busy week. Sometimes it feels like there's a lot more closer looks than the usual prescribed 3. But along with those, you had Gwyneth Paltrow on, who, I'm going to say this. I was watching it on the TV, and I went, she came out in this orange tracksuit, and I went, she's looking good. Her entire interview, I was sitting there going, damn, Gwyneth Paltrow is very, she can get it. Brad Paisley was there. There was a day drinking with Sabrina Carpenter. And if you listen to the Lonely Island with Seth Meyers podcast, they had like not a Q&A. They had a Q&A episode like last week, but the episode that came out this week, they answered a couple of questions. And somebody asked a question about day drinking, and Seth said, people, we tell them that they don't have to drink. They don't have to we can replace their shots with water. And he said Julia Louis-Dreyfus didn't drink, which you can see in the video. But with Sabrina Carpenter, she was very much a person who slowed down when she needed to. And the other person I can say about that is Lorde. I felt like Lorde did not want to be there in the first place. So go back and watch that one and think about that. Like, oh, Lorde's very hesitant to even talk. Jack Black was there. Ella Purnell was there. And look, again, I'm going to say this one more time. Look, I'm an adult man. I'm not a creep. Those two things are not synonymous. Ella Purnell was in a beautiful dress. Just say that. Kate Hudson, Odessa Azion, Nepo Baby, Ariana Grande, and Fran Drescher. Fran Drescher, she's there after her stint as the SAG-AFTRA president. She did a really good job. Now it's Sean Astin, I believe. Moving right along. Jimmy Kimmel had a very busy week, and would you believe it or not, he cried in an episode this week. He had Michelle Obama on for an extended interview, which was fantastic, and it cut into Mia Goth's interview, who's a person we don't need to hear from. But Michelle Obama was fantastic. And it was very sad because she was there the day after the Reiner murders, and she and Obama, her husband, were supposed to have dinner with them that night, which is, or the previous night, with the day that they were murdered. Is that's it's just very sad to see. I didn't even know they were that good of friends. Because I'm not on that text chain. Will Arnett was there talking about that stand-up movie. It's a movie about stand-up. It's called Is This Thing On? And I saw a trailer for it, and I went, there's no people of color in this movie. It's a movie about stand-up. And for months, all people talk about is, who's in the movie. They don't have any people of color. And then I go, let me see. This movie's got a lot of buzz. Let me see who's in the movie. I go to IMDb finally. There's people of color in that cast. Show them in the goddamn trailer. It's my biggest issue. With a lot of movies, I'll tell you that much. There's more people of color, at least in this movie, than there are in the last 4 Guillermo del Toro movies. There's one person of color in the last 4 of his movies. I have not seen one of his movies since Shape of Water. And again, that was a movie with one person of color. Tobias Lesso Jr. performed. And then also, along with Michelle Obama, he also had Kamala Harris this week, that's just 2 great guests. And it's something I'll talk about in a second. Robbie Hoffman was also there. She's having a great year. Dawes performed. Macaulay Culkin and Jason Clarke were the final 2 guests. And then Colbert, he's going into his final Christmas on CBS. He made a joke last week, and Rachel Maddow kind of did not go along with it. She kind of just like, yeah, how come? But he made a joke regarding Paramount or CBS uncanceling his show, and then Rachel Maddow kind of ran with it. I feel like he's accepted it, and even if they did uncancel it, he would go no. Yeah, now he's still moving right along. I gotta stop saying that. I'm deep into Muppets right now. I've been watching Christmas movies, and there's 4 Muppet Christmas projects, so 2 movies and 2 like hour-long specials or something like that I watch per year along with the other Christmas movies. Muppets make up a majority of my Christmas movies, apparently. Yeah, it's interesting. And last night I watched a Christmas Carol, Muppet Christmas Carol. It's so good. As I was doing yoga, it's such a good movie. I love it. All right, Paul Rudd was there for an extended period of time. Leslie Manville was there. Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen were there for an extended period of time. Laura, what is her name? Lauren Cohan's Melania Trump. Is it Lauren Cohan? All right, now I have to do this. Oh, I don't know if she's even in this show. Laura Benatti. So I was wrong on the last name. Laura Benatti. And you want to know the show that I used to look her up? She's a woman who's in a lot of great projects. She's a great actress. She's been on Broadway. I look up the Matthew Perry starring Go On NBC. It's a show I liked. Kumail Nanjiani was there. St. Vincent performed. Hugh Jackman was there. The Late Show Band performed a song. And then James Cameron took the questionnaire. I don't know if I've ever seen the Late Show Band perform anything. Now let's get into the 2025 Late Night Review. This was a very trying year for late night. Not since the pandemic has late night really come under pressure. It has been, and it's mostly because, and I guess there was an animated Trump thing on Late Show with Stephen Colbert. But not since the pandemic has late night really been put under the microscope for good and for bad. It's been even when Trump was elected, because I feel like that was the I think I am pushing together 2020 and 2016. Late night's been tried since 2016. 2016, 2020, and 2025, I would say, are the three toughest years for late night. Because for 2016, Trump was running for office and nobody took him seriously until he was elected. And then people were like, oh, this is a real fucking thing and we have to take this seriously. And then the pandemic put everybody inside. And on top of that, there was just civil upheaval, racial reckoning, religious reckoning, the pandemic itself. There was so much that we were all dealing with, not just people, we were all dealing with. And it kind of, people looked for solace in other places. Now, be it in comedy or self-help books or relationships or friendships, late night, what have you, but people looked for solace. And I feel like 2020 was really the moment where the year when people did, and looking for solace, find it, and they use it just to reaffirm their beliefs and our beliefs and what we already want and perceive out of this world. Now, case in point, I've complained about this before for, in particular, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert and The Daily Show, but now it's really spread. I've noticed it in Jimmy Kimmel Live. At first, I noticed it with Tonight Show with Jimmy Kimmel, but it is really rampant in the latter three shows the former three shows I mentioned, in Colbert, Kimmel, and The Daily Show. In that, people are looking to reaffirm what they already believe, and they applaud everything, ridiculous or not, that comes out of these comedians' mouths. Now, these guys are smart, but they are, I think people need to see themselves in third person, take a step back. They are not philosophers. They are not kings. They are not news people. Even I think Jon Stewart would even say that in himself. After he received this news prize last week, he was like, "Why am I receiving this prize?" And I admit, I only read the headline and I did not go further with that story. But it just doesn't make sense. I think we as a society we live in a society. I think we as a society should really take a step back and acknowledge that they might be the mouthpieces, Colbert and Kimmel. I'm going to throw John Oliver in there. Oliver, and I'm just all these late night hosts and these comedians, but they do not represent us. They do not represent we the people, even if we have the same ideals. Because you can't say, and I'm not a fan of these comedians I'm about to name. I'm not a fan of Joe Rogan. I'm not a fan of Shane Gillis. I'm not a fan of who's the Tony McErmony, Kill Tony. I'm not a fan of any of those people. I'm not afraid of them either. But you can't talk about their fans and say they are X type of people and not see that in yourself for these late night hosts. And I put a lot of thought into this recently. I love Seth Meyers because there's not this what the episode of South Park with smugness about the California getting Priuses and like the smog is moving across Colorado, and people are getting the Prius. It's an excellent episode. But I think about that when I watch the monologues or when I watch the full episodes of the Late Show or Jimmy Kimmel Live or the Daily Show or Last Week Tonight, because it's just like the audience is there to be reaffirmed in their beliefs. Now, I'm not saying they should go to Gutfeld because they would be sitting there yawning their butts off, or they should go to Bill Maher. But what I am saying is, there's two. Oh my god, ugh. My long mat is melting. Oh no! I'm just gonna rub this on the bottom of the chair. I don't know why that's happening. My long mat, my big mouse pad, where my keyboard and my my mouse is. I lost my place. We have to lose that. We have to see. We have to really take a step back and have some humility. On the other hand, the other part of that is, people are clapping because these guys are just making statements. They're not writing jokes. When I listen to music, I'm looking to get more recently because I think just modern day hip hop is horrible. It is not good. I don't like Young Thug. I don't want to listen to anybody on the radio. I don't want to listen to anybody who's performed at the Super Bowl. I want to listen to a very specific set of music. I like 90s hip hop. I think 2000s hip hop sucks. I want to listen to 90s hip hop, and the modern hip hop that I want to listen to today is like, the Griselda guys, Benny the Butcher, West Side Gun, and I'll say this, their quality really fluctuates. Young Dolph, Key Glock. Then for rock, I think rock had a peak, and then it kind of went a little flat, and now in the last 15 or 20 years, I'm really just throwing a number out there, but it's gotten really good because indie rock has opened up what rock can be, and I really wish that would happen for rap. Oh my god, I wish that would happen for rap. And the same thing for pop. Those are the three genres I listen to the most. Pop can be so interesting and so good, and even if it does hit the melodic junk, it can still stand out. Look at Dua Lipa. Dua Lipa makes fantastic music. Britney Spears is who she is because of the music she made in the pantheon. Mariah Carey. I'm hitting all spectrums of pop. But the thing is, those people have innovated. The people I named specifically have innovated within that space. They're not really reinventing the wheel all the time or each time, but they are doing something different. And if they're doing the same stuff over and over again, at least they're doing it well. And for late night, hearkening it back to late night and to comedy, to late night shows in general, maybe it's time to just get back to jokes. There can be advocacy and things like that, but maybe it's time to get back to jokes and doing some great things. Because I feel like every time I watch the Late Show with Stephen Colbert, I just go, oh, that's funny, and then I just move on. As opposed to Late Night with Seth Meyers, I laugh. And then when someone else other than Jon Stewart hosts The Daily Show, I laugh. Now, I mentioned Jimmy Fallon and him being silly, and I like that because it's different. And that's why, Corden stood out because what Kimmel started with the YouTube videos and the pranks and all that stuff, and Fallon ran with, Corden took that to a whole different level. Because again, in 2020, when we had this whole TikTok surge in videos, that kind of reminded me of YouTube, what Kimmel did with YouTube. There's just a lot of great, short, fun bits that even Corden did that really stand out. The sidewalk musicals and all that shit. I mean, they're still good. Let's get back to this year. After Midnight was canceled, this really reminds me of, and even though I did not watch every, hold on, let me finish my thoughts. Even though I did not watch every episode of After Midnight, I really like Taylor, and I really like that they focused on getting newer comedians as opposed to, in the same way that newer alt comedians, in the same way that After Midnight did that. They got newer alt comedians or less seen alternative comedians of the time. I think After Midnight was a great expansion and on an already great show. Did it need to be 44 or 42 minutes? No. But it was nice to watch that show for what it was. And with that show leaving, and you know, it is I'm not going to put the entire blame on Taylor, and I'm not going to say there's any blame to really be pointed around, with the exception at CBS. It's unfortunate that she decided to leave the show, and it's unfortunate that they decided not to continue the show because they wanted to save the $7 it took to make that show. The one negative I have about that show is that the monologue that they instituted, as I think was this year or was it late last year, it was needed because you can't just start that show and do a game and have people go, what is this? However, I talk about sycophancy when it comes to Kimmel's audience watching him, or Colbert's audience watching him, or The Daily Show, or Late Night, or John Oliver, whatever the fuck that show is called. Taylor would tell a level 2 out of 10 joke, and that audience would go fucking wild, and I hated that. It made me start skipping the monologue just to get to the games. Also, that show was like very online in the same way that At Midnight was. And for when At Midnight was on, I was a very online person, and now I'm not, which is it's so funny. Like, I don't know what Labubu is until Jimmy Fallon makes a joke about Labubu. And that's the wrong person to say. Jimmy Kimmel makes a joke about Labubu. I'm like, what is Labubu? Or unless the New York Times, and that sounds like, speaking of people who are up their own ass, it sounds like I read the New York Times. But unless I'm just not a very online person. And it's so interesting that's there's a big dichotomy between me then and me now. Me then and me now. It's it's like Cookie Monster talking to his therapist. Me back then, me big asshole. Me smoke all time, me drink all time. Me eat heroin lace cookie. Oh gosh. For the entirety of 2025, through Jimmy Kimmel's much unnecessary suspension, through the cancellation of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, through a president attacking not one, but 4 different late night hosts, Kimmel, Colbert, Myers, and Fallon, not even attempting to attack Taylor or Taylor Tomlinson or Jon Stewart or John Oliver, introducing so many people to great music via Jimmy Kimmel Live and Jimmy Fallon, Tonight Show Jimmy Fallon, and just excellent writing on Closer Looks, through rallying a crowd behind you with Colbert and Kimmel. This year was a fantastic year for late night, and unfortunately, it feels like it's like the last big year for late night, because we are losing the Late Show, we are losing a voice. Kimmel's got one more year. It feels like almost like a last hurrah in many ways. Who knows what's going to happen with Last Week Tonight? Will Netflix keep that around? Will Paramount take the eyes of cutting from Late Show when that's done in May to The Daily Show? The Daily Show's even The Late Show, they're both good and popular shows, no matter what I say about them. But will they focus on, Stewart's got one more year in him. Oh, I meant to say this earlier. After Midnight getting canceled so soon reminds me of The Late Show getting canceled. The Daily Show? The Late Show, yes. No. The Nightly Show getting canceled so soon. Would it still be on with Larry Wilmore? No, not with Larry Wilmore. He would have left a long time ago. So it probably wouldn't still be on. All right. Listen, if you like what you heard here, there's no grade. I'm not grading anything. We're adults. We can parse from my words how I feel about late night. I love it. Even if I dislike the some aspects of Jimmy Kimmel Live and The Late Show. Also, this is something that has really become apparent to me. I don't watch any shows or movies that don't have people of color in them, and I increasingly notice that Jimmy Kimmel Live does not have any. Oh, and The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. I don't think they hired any people of color. I don't think any people of color worked there, with the exception of the two that are on Stephen Colbert's band, late night band, and with the two, Guillermo and Lou, who are the security guard and announcer for Jimmy Kimmel Live, respectively. So at least Late Night with Seth Meyers and Jimmy and Tonight Show have some diverse voices. Anyway, if you like what you heard here, head to the website cpluscomedy.com, where you can see every interview I've ever done, almost every interview I've ever done. There's also video interviews now under The Interviews. You can also watch all that stuff on youtube.com/C+Comedy, where you can also get a video version of this show, as well as the other podcast, The Constitutionals, the Entertainment Business News Podcast, and LinkedIn Logs, the Jobs Podcast. I believe those will be on hiatus next week for the next 2 weeks as well. Follow us on social media at C+Comedy on Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok. Follow me on those platforms at Shy Black White. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.